this is why I was telling you that, like, we're gonna do what we have to do. Because sellout done got called up. Like, sellout got called up since 1913. You know what I mean? And the most we could do is continue doing the work. Because by now, people who are quote unquote in like the conscious circle, you gotta know what the sellouts are by now. If you don't know what the sellouts are by now, then you're not conscious. You're wasting your time. If you can't identify the sellout now, by now, then I guess you might as well just continue, you know what I mean, feeding the beast system. You know?
And then those people need counseling, I think, right? A lot of those people need counseling, I think. Like serious, naturalistic counseling.
They need education.
Well, well, they have education. That's why they work.
But positive education.
No, the victims.
They know exactly what they're doing, though. I'm just thinking of a few obvious ones that went from the Black Power right into the mainstream.
No, I'm not referring to the sellouts at all. I'm talking about the victims. You know?
Oh, the victims.
Yeah, the victims who have they don't know their identity and they're actually innocent in all of this foolishness and what's going on. You know.
See, but that's when we go into the national part of what the Prophet brought, and we look at everything from a law perspective. And then there's a maxim of law that ignorance of law is no excuse.
I was just turning my face and tell you that there's no excuse.
So like
whatsoever.
That's true.
if we want to be victims, that's on us that we want to be victims.
Exactly.
You know, because there's no, like, you don't have any excuse. Prophet came to you, brought you everything that you need to save a nation. Now take it and save yourselves, or you don't want it. All right, cool. We're not going to force you to pick it up. I mean, it's yours. But, you know, it's like, I was just coming here, and there was a brethren I seen at the pizza store that I never seen in a while. You know, and we're talking about how, oh yeah, you know, we get on the block, and then we stay on the block for like 20 years or whatever, and he's telling me how we moved to Mississauga, and you know how different it is to being on the block or whatever. And we were talking about like how it's set up that there's going to be a fence, and then there's going to be like millions of dollars on the other side of the fence with your name on it that you can't touch. And you just hold on to the fence and you're just looking through the fence. And you're not looking at it, you're not checking that way to see if the fence maybe cuts off 2 feet over there so you can just run around. Or you're not looking up to see, or maybe, you know, it's just a little jump over. Just holding the fence. If you don't want it, like, it's on you if you don't want it. But it was presented to you. And the Prophet said that it's yours. So if it's yours, then, like, if you don't get involved, you're still involved anyways, because the Europeans going to use you against your own people.
Yes.
And you can say that, no, that's not going to happen to me ever because I'm whatever. Cool. But if you're not on this side, you know, like Prophet said, there's people on this side of the movement that ran back over on that side. So he's saying, get back on this side. And once you get on this side, right, there's a procedure. There's steps that you're supposed to go through. That the sellout Moors aren't going to tell the congregation, because it's all about keeping the congregation dead and asleep. Right? So the Prophet in the Circle 7, there's a chapter that talks about belief, faith, and fruition, and that belief is like baby steps, and you need to get out of belief into faith, and then faith is going to catapult you into fruition where you are what you claim to be. Right? So belief is basically mastering the basics. And the basics, like the absolute basics, is what the Prophet brought. And focus on that for a little bit before you start going into getting information from other Moors, and you know, you see a moron talk about something and then it just sounds interesting, and now you're focused on this individual that is just stating their opinion. Like that's their opinion. That's not what the Prophet said. Unless that Moor is saying what the Prophet said and directing you back to the same stuff that you're gonna read and say, okay, well yeah, he referred to me to this, and okay, yeah, this is real. Deal with the basics. Because that's all that really there is. Once you have the basics, you're automatically going to advance. Right? But it's where you're going to advance to. And then advancing is to faith. The only perfect practice makes perfect. And who are you going to listen to with regard to this information? You're going to listen to some Moors out there because you've seen this guy go in a court and make the judge run out the court. You're going to listen to this guy. And you know, that's the, when somebody says, you know, like they're coming into this, right? They're coming into this. First perspective they got about Moors, they just heard about Moors, let me just Google Moors and see what comes up. First thing comes up, this man in court wearing a fez, telling the judge something, the judge ran out the court. That's their perspective of what a Moor is. And then they run off on that. Right? They run off on that perspective that that person expressed. That might have been good for that person, but that might not work with you because of the fruition part, where personal experience is the real test in this. You're going to have an experience for yourself that's going to either move you forward in this information so you can get to the next test, to see, to basically, you know, when you start exercising what you are, that's fruition. Right? That's the end of the road. You know, you became the fruit that this tree is supposed to bear. That you're ready for picking. That's where you have to be in your mind with this before you go out there and want to be a Moor because you've seen this guy on YouTube say that he's a Moor in court. And you know nothing about procedures. You have to send your paperwork before you go there. You have to, you know, whatever you have to do. You know, you get a ticket, you're going to fight it. You're going to go in there and talk about, yeah, the Moor, I'm a Moor. And then they're going to kidnap you and you're going to say, oh, yeah, the Moor stuff is wrong. I tried to do that Moor stuff and it got me locked up for 30 days. You're the one that didn't master fruition. You were in the belief stage. You have some basic principles and you think that that's it. You think that you're at the end of the road because you got this basic principle. Right? When you don't even know anything yet. You didn't even have an experience yet to test you in what you claim to know. So this is to sort of draw a line, right? For people in the class or people who've been following on YouTube or whatever the case is, that this is class 4. So we're getting into what the Prophet said. And it's up to you whether you want to get involved with this or not. That has nothing to do with the temples and the Moors out there, and that has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with how much bills you have and, you know, if you're in debt or whatever. It has nothing to do with none of that stuff. You have a court case tomorrow, you need to get out of the court case, I gotta go talk to him more. It has nothing to do with none of that stuff. If you are saying this Morris thing is interesting, don't experience anything just knowing the basics. I guarantee you're gonna get kidnapped. Nobody's gonna come for you. Cause like if they kidnap you and you're claiming something that you're not, like you're gone. Nobody's even gonna know. You're just gonna disappear. Like, and that's like real. This stuff sellers don't want you to know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Because when I first came across the knowledge and it found me where I found it, I started telling my son. And then I start to worry, you know, like what you're just saying, because now, being a Moor, none of these, the matrix doesn't apply to me no more. I can rip for miles.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I can do anything, you know?
Yeah.
And get jacked up and get kidnapped, like you said. And then I said, okay, incident did happen. I said, son, this wasn't for this reason, if this was the reason, but get your knowledge, get it on your square so you know what you're doing, because right knowledge corrects wrong behavior.
Exactly.
So,
Say that one again.
right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. So now really learn the science to protect ourselves from our ancestors, what they left behind us, like Prophet Noble Drew Ali did, to bring it to our attention how to protect ourselves, like you're saying about the fruit ripening.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we can just go there unless we know what we're really doing and really mean it, because it's like letting go of the matrix.
Yeah.
Once we let go and be ourselves, then we have the blessings that our ancestors left behind to protect us.
And another thing too, don't think that they're kidnapping you because you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're not kidnapping you because you're wrong exercising yourself as a Moor,
Yes.
right? They're kidnapping you to intimidate other people
To shut us,
not to get down
dis-
with this.
to get discouraged. Mm-hmm.
Because once they have people in that false education appearing real, fear,
Mhm.
mindset, on any level, you're beat already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like, one of the Grand Sheiks, Nature Albay, was saying, never ever go on the defensive. Because once you go on the defensive, you become the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're the defendant, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic. Like, you can't even make an argument.
Yes.
Because you lost already. You know? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what Virgin was talking about, like these principles, and it definitely is divine in the essence that a divine truth is, because this is coming from the divine, that higher power, or you know, that higher knowledge as well, and it works out, especially like with the example you showed, to kidnap you too as a fear tactic. You know, it works out. They work exactly opposite to what the divine principles are.
Well, that's exactly right. That's like the Jim Crow laws and everything else they did to our. Well, I don't know when the woman went to sleep, but when our mother started seeing us being tortured, they said, "Hold on for a minute. Just do what they tell you to do. Just stay alive." You know. I mean, there's more science to what we're talking about, but I'm just.
But it also shows the
They
sophistication.
put the fear into it.
Yeah.
The enemy knows. They have some advanced knowledges themselves, and like the Virgin was saying, they know some of the divine truths, but
Well,
they
we used a
kinda-
lot of tactics too.
Well-
Some scary ones.
Yeah.
Our ancestors, they weren't playing around either. They chop your head off in a minute.
Right, so master the basics. Don't just, you know what I mean, like, that water looks blue right there,
Mhm.
and just dive off the edge, because it might be the shallow end that you're diving into. So, master the basics.
Just like you have to learn how to walk first before you can run.
Have to.